Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and welcome along to the Championship preview and predictions show for round 11. Anybody tired after this last 3 weeks? Jesus Christ. Saturday midweek, and here comes the last Saturday. Sometimes we get it with cup games in between. You might hear some fireworks going off out there. I don't know how lockdown proof that is, but there you go. It's been an incredible run of 7 games in basically 3 weeks, bookended if you know how I am reading it. So this is the last one, and then international break, of course. Get your ideas in for some content. I'm sure we won't be short of stories in the Championship over the international break. The idea of this show, as ever, I'm sure many of you have joined me for this before. We're going to make some predictions. It's a little bit of fun. We're going to go through all 12 of the round 11 Championship games. We'll talk through what we think is going to happen. I'll make a prediction, and then when we do the review, someone will say, Ben, you said we'd lose and we won, really. So I'm making a new rule now on holding me to predictions. You're only allowed to do that if you also make a prediction with me before the event. You can't hold me to account after the event, especially if you haven't made a prediction yourself. So that's the new rules. Anyway, right, we'll get into the games in just a second. But first of all, as ever on our preview videos, we are sponsored by the Donovan brothers, who sponsor this show all season in loving memory of Michael of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan, admirer of this show. Sadly, Michael no longer with us, but this show is rather beautifully in his memory due to the kind actions of his brothers for the entirety of this season. And if it's not too crass after that, lovely plug to go to a less lovely plug. There we go. The Benjamin Bloom Football Channel merchandise store. Please help out here. I know world's smallest violin. Can't claim the self-employed grant until December the 14th, by God. So help me out by buying some merch, T-shirts, mugs, phone cases, hoodies, jumpers, T-shirts. You name it, it's there. It's just underneath here on the top row in YouTube. If you're here, let me know, and I will say hello to everybody here real quickly. Chris is here. Mike, Lee, Lewis, an unhappy Derby fan. White Hart Day, that's JR, isn't it? Expecting fireworks in this preview. You're going to get them. David is here. Who else have we got? Ola, missing midweek matches. There we go. Alistair is here and Josh is here. Help me out with your predictions as we go. Let's start off by having a little looky at the league table, see where we stand after 10. 10 is always good because you know me, I like points per game and it's very easy to calculate. Remember, as a general rule of thumb, after 46 games, if you have 2 points per game, you'll probably win the title on 92. If you're above 1.8, you're likely automatic. If you're above 1.65, maybe, you're in the playoffs probably. If you're around the 1.5, you're ending on 69, aren't you? And you're probably on the edge of the playoffs and not quite in it. To go straight down to the relegation zone, generally in the Championship, 1 point per game and you're safe. Although last season was one of those high tide years where 1 point did not guarantee Charlton safety, did it, on 49. So it's an interesting time to kind of look and see how you're projecting out. Obviously, if you're Reading, you're projecting out to easily score 100 points there. If you're, say, Coventry, you're probably not looking good, or anyone really under that 1 point per game. So I always think it's a good little barometer. But also what is a good barometer is international break number 2, which I always call the managerial graveyard, although it seemed to have been moved forward this year, wasn't it? We did have Struber go kind of his own accord and Lamucci go in the first international break. And I can see Lewis mentioning it as well. One particular manager has some pressure on him now in the second international break. Let's start at the top as ever, which means Reading. And Reading can still go into this international break on 25 points from 11 games, can't they? Which would be absolutely exceptional, wouldn't it? Despite the fact they have now lost 2 games on the trot. So I need your predictions, please. Game number 1 is Reading versus Michael O'Neill's Stoke. So have fun calling this one, guys. Reading, as you can see, if I do a little scroll top, Stoke 11th, but Stoke are only 3 points off third position, aren't they? And they're at that 1.5 points per game, which won't be enough to get you in the playoffs, but will probably have you on the edges of it. If we look at the recent form, obviously Reading have now gone from, I mean, it's just an extended kind of Bristol City, isn't it? Bristol City did 4 games, straight wins, and then tailed off a little bit, and maybe now coming back. Reading, look at that, 6 wins and a draw in the first 7. Incredible start. But leaky defence. Look at that over the last 3 games. They were scoring all their chances and not conceding barely anything in the first few games. And in that last 3 games, worryingly, if you're a Reading fan, 3 against Preston, 3 against Coventry, and 2 against Blackburn. And that is not Norwich, Bournemouth and Watford they've played either. So it's a lot of goals gone in against them. And some injury worries for the Royals. Moore was not very ably replaced by McIntyre last night. Maite is a big miss. Swift has been a big miss for a few weeks now. And Ejaria is not in as well. So if they could get a win, this international break comes at a really good time. And I mean, you do have to look at it. 25 points from the first 11. You're really setting yourself up where if they can hit that, and let's be honest, even if they lose, it's 22 points from 11. They've set themselves up to have a good season. They don't have to play amazingly well points per game to get the playoffs from 22 points from the first 11 games. So, I mean, hats off, but it could be more. Stoke, if we look there, look at that. They win every other game without fail, don't they? Win, draw, win-loss, win-loss. Obviously, that's amounting to 1.5 at the moment, and you need a bit more than that. But my point about Stoke and the churn is still relevant, that they will be able to just grind this season out, I think. And I've got them in the playoffs, surely the top 8 at least. Surely. Who have they beaten? Preston, Luton, Brentford, and Rotherham. Are they flat track bullies? And how do we judge Reading? Are we judging Reading as a really hard game because they're top of the league? Or are we judging Reading as something else because they've lost the last 2? I don't know. Let's have a look at your predictions here in the chat. Reading 1, Stoke 2. Josh has got the away win there. JR says, difficult game to predict. Go with a draw. Reading 1-1. 2-2 Mike. 1-1 David. Score draw. Ola has got the away win. Max, tough game. Still think we'll win 3-2. Reading 2-1. Very mixed here, aren't we? Reading 1-1. I think I'm with the guys that said a low-scoring draw in this one. I mean, it'd be a really bad run, wouldn't it, to go 3 straight defeats for Reading? The pattern says Stoke are going to win because they win every other game. But, hey, since when did that matter? So I'm going to sit on the fence, start off on the fence, start as I mean to go on, and go for a draw in this one. We move on to second place, Swansea, who are rather impressing me, but they're going to have to rather impress everybody to win this game because they are away at Norwich. Why this is not on TV, I do not know, but this should be a really, really good game, this one. Norwich in third versus Swansea in second. You got to love that this early in the season. Get your predictions in. Norwich versus the Swans. you can see one team on 19 points, one team on 18 points, both of them in really nice form. Swansea there in those last 5 games have 9 points. Norwich have 11 in the last 5. So very, very good indeed from both. And both starting to convince me now. Norwich had that run of tight wins, but they've had a couple of, particularly the Bristol City game was far more viable than, a last-minute free kick to beat Wycombe, or against 10 men against Birmingham, or the 94th minute penalty to beat Rotherham. Looked a lot better against Bristol City. But Norwich, the story seems to be that they're going to have to learn to play against stacked defences now. This is not the winter of 2018 where no one knew how good Daniel Farke was, no one knew how good Emi Buendia was, and no one knew how good Timu Pukki was. Everybody knows now, and they all have plans, seemingly involving either 3 defensive midfielders, 3 centre-backs, 2 deep full-backs, all seem to have the plans to stop them. And Norwich not quite their fluent self in getting through, and a different challenge here this time around. Swansea just aren't losing many games, are they, at all there? They've won at Preston, they've won at Wycombe, they've beaten Millwall at home, they've beaten Stoke, they've beaten Blackburn, and drawn away at Brentford. Both of these teams, indeed, drawing away at Brentford. This is a difficult game to call, but it's honestly probably a better matchup for Norwich to play against a team like Swansea, who'll actually come out and play against them. They'll probably find this easier than the games against Millwall and Birmingham and Derby and Rotherham, where everyone came with the stacked defences. So I'll have a look at your predictions, but I'm going to go out on a limb first, and I am going to say that this is actually easier to call than Norwich playing Millwall, who might not quite be where Swansea are at the moment. But then they did draw with Brentford. Look, I was going to go home win, so I'll stick on a home win there for Norwich. Let's see what you guys are saying. Josh has gone 1-1. Lee has gone 2-1 Swans. Hip has gone 1-0 Norwich. Chris has gone draw. Mike 2-0 Norwich. David 3-2 Norwich. 2-all JR. Scored draw from QPR Forever. 3-1 Norwich. 1-0 Norwich. Kate says 1-1. Chris says, not on TV because Sky suddenly needed to feature Reading a lot, just in time to catch them on a losing run. Yeah. Gone are the days now where they can just stick Leeds on and get some ratings, isn't it? But there you go. So I've gone for a home win to them Yellows in that one. Thomas asks, has anyone in the history of mankind been good at predicting championship scores? I don't think so, Thomas. But we have a bit of fun here every game week, don't we? One of my favourite parts, because you just make it up as I go along, have a look, and no pressure because everyone knows it's the championship anyway, like you say, Thomas. Right, on we go to Watford, who beat Stoke 3-2 in the week in a game I predicted would be a low-scoring draw. So there you go. Read into that what you will. It's Watford versus Coventry. Anyone else getting a little bit worried about Coventry slipping down there? Slip sliding away. Name that tune. Watford versus Coventry. Get your predictions in. You can see that Watford are up in 4th. Only 2 defeats, only 7 goals conceded, and 1.8 points per game. And also, you can see in there a pretty, if you're going to go up, a pretty average run there of 2 points in 3 games. You can't afford too many of those. Coventry, who we all looked at and we said, they've probably got a slightly better pattern of play than Rotherham or Wycombe, but maybe they won't be as tough. They've slipped down, haven't they? And I'm now worried. By the way, our league table today has Sheffield Wednesday still with -12, despite the fact it's going to go to just 6 points off. But my contention, and I'll ask you guys in the chat, do your predictions as well, but are any of those teams that are currently in the bottom 6, and I'm looking at Forest, Derby and Sheffield Wednesday, going to stay in the bottom 6 or bottom 4 indeed? Because I don't think at least 2 of them will. And that's worrying for Coventry, because then you're looking above Coventry for someone else to get sucked down. So, and I mean, I like the way they play. I like the wing backs and Giles and McCallum and Darboe. I like O'Hare. I like Godden up top. Hamer's good fun in midfield. They're a good team to watch. I enjoy watching Coventry, but they're not winning many games at the moment. So that's the slight worry for me in terms of Coventry of if the teams below them are not going to stay there, who are they going to suck down? Or are Coventry going to be able themselves to go on a nice run and stick a load of points on the table between now and spring, let's just say? Watford, so they slipped up at Barnsley, didn't they? Otherwise, the only other defeat was at Reading. So a couple of sort of odd 1-0 away defeats in there. Otherwise, they're very tight and miserly, although Stoke broke through twice with Powell and Fletcher, didn't they? But strong, and I hope you all noticed. So Sarr and João Pedro were playing up front in the last game. Deeney, Gray, and Hughes all on the bench. Capoue is in there now. Got so many good players, haven't they? In terms of Cov, yeah, look, if you hack out those first 2 games on that list to illustrate a point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 defeats in 7 is not good at all. Have the games been hard? Well, Bournemouth, Brentford, Swansea, Borough, Reading. So there is the excuse. The games have been hard, haven't they? But that is not going to sway me from predicting Mr. Sarr and Mr. João Pedro and Gray and Hughes and Deeney and Capoue are going to have too much from a team that played in League One last season. So I am going to go for a home win and a pretty good first 11 games for Ivic. Let's have a look and see what you guys are saying on this one. Watford 2, Cov 0, says Josh. 2-1 says Kate. 2-1 Cov. Banker home win, says Chris. 4-0 Watford. At home, I would have backed Cov, but not away. 2-0 Watford. 3-0 Watford. 3-0 Watford. 1-1. Simon and go. It was just Simon, I think, wasn't it? Slip sliding away. But yes, you got the right singer. 1-0, 2-0. So look, we're heavily on Watford here. Elliot says, new phone, Ben, using old one. What do you mean? Do you have a new phone? And why aren't you using it? Draw. There you go. You got your prediction in anyway. Elliot, nice one, you. Right. Next up, we move to our 5th place team, which is Bournemouth, who had a somewhat surprising defeat at Sheffield Wednesday, who become the first team to score 9 points in 24 hours. There's a quiz question for you guys in the future. Who scored 9 points in 24 hours? Or who increased by 9 points in 24 hours? Sheffield Wednesday in 2020. There you go. So look, I've done a video about that one. Do I remember the game is Birmingham versus Bournemouth? Get your predictions in. Birmingham versus Bournemouth on this one. Do I remember this one ending 8-0 once? Do I remember that correctly? 8-0 Bournemouth showing up and winning at Birmingham. We got any Birmingham fans in? I haven't seen any, I don't think. So Bournemouth up there in 5th. And yeah, a bit spotty from them. They've only 1 defeat in the first 10, but only 1 win there in that last 5. Birmingham in 14th. They were leading against Wickham and then they lost, didn't they? They would have been 10 points in 4 games, Birmingham, and banging form, wouldn't they? Remember, Bournemouth have already been to St Andrews and won in the first 10 games of this season at Coventry. We did it on the watch-along, didn't we? Let's have a look at recent results. By the way, I was talking about Sarr and João Pedro and Deeney and Gray. The Bournemouth front 3 in the last game at Wednesday, okay, you can come back and say, Ben, they didn't score, was Danjuma, King and Brooks, which should just pulverise this division, shouldn't it, for goodness sakes? We know what the game state will be in this one as well, with Birmingham without the ball and Bournemouth with, but who will come out on top? So you've got the old worldly Karanka against the kind of wet behind the ears Jason Tyndall. You can see there Birmingham had been on a lovely run with that 2 straight victories, but then going under, like I say, to Wickham. Who have they actually lost to? Norwich, Sheffield Wednesday and Wickham. So no pattern there to look at. Who have they beaten? Brentford, Huddersfield and Preston. So Birmingham, look, all we really know is that they're going to be good without the ball and they're going to be solid defensively. For Bournemouth, who have they beaten? Norwich, Coventry, Bristol City. They've won some tricky games, haven't they? So lots and lots and lots of draws in there, which makes me think maybe Tyndall hasn't quite got the, the tweaky Chris Hughton, Mick McCarthy win a tight game from the sidelines thing going just yet. Let's see what you guys think in the chat here on this one. Birmingham versus Bournemouth. Let's have a look. Brumm, 1-0 Bournemouth, says JR. 0-0. 1-0 Bournemouth, 0-2. Draw, 1-1. 1-0 Birmingham. Bournemouth love a draw, says Kate. QPR forever, 1-0 Bournemouth. Elliot says take it back 0-0 because it's Karanka. 2-1. King of Brooks still want a Premier League move, not in great form. True. Yeah, you can be good players, but if you're not there, you're not there. Jay's getting a bit excitable here. He's going for a 6-1 there. Dear oh me. What am I saying on this one? God, there is a Karanka 1-0 win in the ether somewhere here, but I'm not sure Bournemouth are going to lose 2 away games 1-0 at Sheffield Wednesday and Birmingham in the same week. Look, I'm going to go for a low-scoring away win, like a few of you guys have as well. So I'll go for Bournemouth for the away win in this one, but it won't be easy away at a Aitor Karanka team, would it? Right, let's go on to Borough, who are now 9 unbeaten under lovely Warnock, and they visit Brentford. So I know what some people will predict for this one, because they'll predict the possession and the minute of the goal as well, won't they? But get it in. It is Brentford versus Borough at Brentford. Yes, we all know the scenario that's going to get brought up in the chat, don't we? Lovely Warnock away win with 10 minutes to go or whatever, and I don't know, someone bumping a goal in from 6 feet. Get your predictions in via other comments. Borough in 6th in great form, aren't they? And such a good job there. 5 goals conceded in 10 games. But they are up against Ivan Toney in this one, who is the premier striker in the division. Ahead of Adam Armstrong, is he now? Let's just have a quick look. Sorry, guys. I'll see how quickly I can navigate around here. Yeah, look. So Toney there, 10 goals already in the first 10 games. Armstrong on now 9, Zhao on 6, AU and Sinclair on 5. So the best striker coming up against the best defence. Can I find that game again fast enough? How can we do it? Round 11. Come on, Ben. You can do it. Where is it? Brentford versus Borough. So 6th and 10th in the table. Brentford fans probably won't be happy with that now, which is a tip to the cap of the expectations changing at Brentford, really, that people will think, well, should be in the top 6 all the time, really, now the way they've grown that club. But 1.5 points per game will not do at Brentford, will it? They'll expect more than that as the season go on, and I suspect they'll get more than that. Traditionally, they grow into the season. Why, though, are they not up there at the moment? Well, the obvious reason is not winning enough games, is it? Drawing with Millwall and Norwich and Swansea. Okay, they're hard games, though, aren't they? And losing to Stoke and Preston. So Brentford do not like the pragmatic ones there, do they? With Alex Neil and Michael O'Neill already getting the wins in that one. Look at Borough's form there. Look, draw, win, win, draw. Just excellent form and no goals going in against. I suspect if you promised Mr. Warnock a 0-0 draw right now, he wouldn't even start the bus, would he? He'd say, no, fine, keep the run going, keep everything tight. Let's see what you guys are saying on this one. Where are our predictions? Josh says 2-0 Brentford. Kate says 2-2. Borough conceding 2 goals. 1-0 Borough. Draw. 2-1 Borough. 0-0. 3-1 Brentford. Elliot says 4-0. Force has to start, and then says Force is much better than Tony. Okay. Elliot, very excited about Marcus Force. Not quite accepting that Tony scored 10 goals in his first championship games there, but I'm sure if Force was much better, Thomas Frank would already be playing him. Not to say that his career won't be better, but hey, crystal balls. 2-0 Borough, Warnock to strike again. 2-1 Brentford, 1-0. 1-1 draw, says Iain. Abel says 1-0 Brentford. As much as I find Warnock amusing, I think I'm going to have to go for Brentford in this one. Look, if Borough do go there and keep a clean sheet or win, then expect this to keep going and not just be a good start for Warnock and Borough. But I think Brentford and Tony will probably have a little bit too much for them. But never write off the old dog Warnock just yet. Let's go to game number 6, which involves Bristol City, who are in 7th place. And we are doing this game as a watch-along. And the clock on the screen tells me we're doing this in 22 hours' time. It really just does never end, the championship. Get your predictions in. Cardiff versus Bristol City. I suppose Bristol City are trending back up now. Look, they're back up in 7th, aren't they? And they had the losing streak and got an away win to get them moving again. Most Britons have bad breath. I don't want to see that. Why am I being advertised that? Nothing wrong with my breath. Dear me. Bristol City, yes. So edge of the playoffs. And I suppose if you win your first 4 games, you know, you're going to be there or thereabouts for at least up until game 12 or 13, just on that first little splurge of points. Get your predictions in for this one, guys. Help me out. Cardiff versus Bristol City. This will be the watch-along tomorrow night, so you can join me for this one. Again, Cardiff, not very impressive so far. Only the 3 victories. They look quite reliant already on Harry Wilson in terms of if he has a good season. I think that may facilitate them having a good season. So we will see if all of the eggs are in the Wilson basket. There are the recent games, and just a win against Barnsley in midweek. Not losing many, are they? But then a run there of 4 draws in 5 games recently. Who have they beaten? They've beaten Forest, and they've beaten Barnsley, and they've beaten Preston at home. Everyone beats Preston at home at the moment, don't they? Bristol City, are they streaky? I wonder. We'll find out if they win the next 2 games, won't we? We can start calling them Streaky Dean, following Streaky Lee. Right, let's have a look here. Josh says, classic Neil. Please don't, Josh, as the watch-along. Chris says another draw. That's what I'm after, Carl. 4-2, that'll do me. 1-1, 1-1, 1-0 Cardiff, 0-0, 1-0 Cardiff. Elliot says he has bad breath. That's not good news. Go and get some mouthwash. 3-1 Bristol City, says Jacob. 1-0, 1-1 draw, smells breath, definitely doesn't stink. I don't know why they're advertising it to me. Deary me. Cardiff 2, Bristol 0, says Iain. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't have the slightest idea what's going to happen in this one. I am going to say that Bristol City will be able to score, but will not be able to keep out Cardiff for 90 minutes. I'm going to go for a home win. Why the hell not? Hey? Oh, what's the worst that can happen? A Cardiff fan will goad me after the game. Hey? Always happens anyway. So, right. We have done half of the games. We'll be back to do the other half in just a second. After, if you'll just indulge me, a quick little plug there. If you can hit like on this video right now, that would be great. You can support via Patreon, via Super Chat right now if you want. Keep comments coming in if you're watching after the fact. Get your predictions in the comment thread underneath. And a new way to support is through the merchandise store there. T-shirts, cups, phone cases, hoodies, jumpers, and more T-shirts. Go and buy something. Help a brother out with that. Right. Next up will be our game number 7, which is Millwall. And they play probably a very buzzing Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. So Sheffield Wednesday Well, we'll look at the effect on it in the table in just a second. Get your predictions in. Sheffield Wednesday versus Millwall. Millwall up in 8th, churning out 1.6 points per game, which you would be perfectly happy if that goes all season. Millwall, that's probably playoffs. So decent start by Millwall there. Can they keep it up? I think they probably can. Sheffield Wednesday. So we can now add another 6 on. I know the EFL is sitting to discuss this, but the EFL tends to go with the arbitration panel. Even if they appeal back against them, they still go with the findings sometimes. And the arbitration panel says that the points deduction is going to be halved from 12 to 6. Wednesday were already functioning at 11 points from 10 games, which would have put them in 17th, 18th, excuse me. Would 11 points, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. And now they've got 6 points back. So all of a sudden, since that Wycombe game where they lost and everyone was thinking, this is awful, terrible, 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 they've gone up 9 points, essentially. Like I said, 9 points in basically 24 hours. If you want to debate the ins and outs of that, please do it on the other video I made this morning. I'll summarize my position. The EFL made a mess of it, and it is what it is. And I predicted this was going to happen in July. So there you go. Let's have a look at the recent results. And Wednesday, you'd think, will be buoyed now, wouldn't they? They had been on a 4-game losing streak, but all of a sudden, you get a 3-point bonus against Bournemouth that maybe you didn't expect. It's a good Bournemouth squad. And then you get 6 points back. So they will be wanting to follow that up. I mean, when you look at the fact they're facing Millwall, probably without losing is what you would say, because it's going to be a tricky one. Millwall, good point at Norwich. And if I'm a Millwall fan and I'm thinking Millwall could get in the playoffs, and I'm thinking about an away playoff game, and I see Millwall go away to Norwich and absorb loads of pressure and not really lose that many big chances and get a draw there, I'd be like, okay, like the sound of that. So, and Millwall, they need to be positively flat track bullies, don't they? Who have they beaten? Rotherham, Wycombe, Luton, Preston at home. Everyone's beaten Preston at home. So this game, given that Wednesday, even if you take the -6 off, whatever, -12, they're 18th, aren't they? So they are essentially still a bottom 7 side. So Millwall will expect to win, I think, on this one. Let's have a look at your predictions here. 1-0 Millwall, says Gaza. 4-0 Millwall, says Lee, with no hint of bias at all there. Lee, the Blades fan. 0-0, says Josh. Wednesday on a high after points deduction, so 1-0 Mill. 2-1 Mill, 2-0 Millwall. 1-0 Millwall. 0-2 Millwall. Wednesday win. 2-1 Millwall, 2-1 Als. Points deduction halved. We know what you meant, Hip. Hardest game to call this week, so I'm going to go Wednesday 1, says Jay. 2-1 Millwall, 1-0 Millwall, 1-0 Millwall. Churn. Love it. 3-1 Wednesday. Preston like a soggy Weetabix at home, indeed. 2-0 Millwall. I think I'm going to go with the chat. I'm going to indulge you Millwall fans and go for an away win, which, of course, will then be my fault if Millwall indeed do lose this game. So let's go for Millwall to have a good away week, couple of clean sheets and 4 points. I do think Wednesday, the chances of them surviving have been really helped by that extra 6 points and maybe a nice psychological boost. So long term, I think it's going to be a very good week, this one for Wednesday. But let's go for an away win. Why the hell not in this one? Right, game number 8 will be, when I click the correct buttons, involving Luton, who are very nicely positioned. Oh, this looks like a good game. Huddersfield versus Luton. It's probably be quite a good watch, this one, I reckon. Corberon versus Jones. Both use width. Both transition nice and quickly, especially Luton. Both have scored some decent goals this season. Could be a good game. Let's get your predictions in for Huddersfield versus Luton. Let's have a look at the table. And I have to say that's impressive from Luton, isn't it? Look, 16 points from the first 10. I mean, we've just said Millwall 1.6. Look, I don't think Luton will end up finishing in the playoffs, and Millwall are a little bit ahead of them. But this is great stuff from Nathan Jones, isn't it, to be there? And look how efficient they are for goals as well. That's 16 points from 8 goals as well, which my very bad maths tells me is 2 points per goal, which is surely the most efficient in the division, isn't it? He says, looking up at Middlesbrough, who have 17 points from 9 goals. Been interesting little exercise that for a nerd, if you're a nerd like me, which I'm sure some of you probably are, and I mean that in the loveliest way possible. Let's have a look down here at the results. So Huddersfield are a bit erratic, I have to say. Look at that. Brilliant 3-0 win down at Millwall. They beat Derby, they beat Swansea away as well. But lost at home to Bristol City, lost at home to Preston. Everyone loses at home to Preston. Lost at Birmingham. So they're a bit topsy-turvy, up and down, hard to call. Luton will punish a team like that, I have to say. If you're there for the taking this season, I think Luton will beat you because you'll just fall asleep and they'll do you on a transition, won't they? Luton, who are they beating? Well, Derby in a bad moment, Wickham in a bad moment, Wednesday in a bad moment, Rotherham. So, like I say, if you're there for the taking, Luton will do you. And I'm impressed with Collins, who came in and scored. I'm having trouble calling this one. Let's see what you guys are saying. Josh has got an away win for Luton. 2-1 Huddersfield hip, 2-0 Luton. Away win for Luton from Chris. Luton, draw, Luton, draw, Luton. Yorkshire to rule by the odd goal in 3. Nice. Luton looked good in the second half, 2-0 Hatters. So Iain has watched Luton in the last day. 2-0, says David. Mike, can't stand Luton, but in a weird way, their fans have been to the dregs. Yeah, so you have to be happy for them, haven't they? Another team with issues with the EFL, let's just say. Huddersfield win there, says Michael. Luton won this 2-0 late last season as well, Jay, wasn't it? Huddersfield finished well v Millwall, but Luton won't give them so much ball. Oliver says really struggle against teams like Luton. I don't say teams like Luton, people get upset. They really did a job on us, not clinical, so I think 1-0 Luton. Kate says 1-0 Luton. 1-1 says Gaza, 1-0 Huddersfield. Noel says hopes I'm well. Blues last night, shocking. Blues v Bournemouth. Nothing but 2-3-0 to Bournemouth. So where am I? I'm Huddersfield, Luton. Oh, God, this is hard to call. Look, can I just sit on the fence? I can't call it. I'm going to go for a draw. I wouldn't be surprised if either team won. This would probably make Luton slight favourites. I'd have them for the win if it was at Kenilworth, but it's not. So I'm finding this one very, very hard to call. Oliver says, I meant teams that sit back and let's have the ball. Definitely not anything. There you go, Oliver. You got to get there though, haven't you? Right, let's go on to game number 9, which will involve. Have we done Brentford? We have. We've done Stoke. Yes. Preston, the strangest of strange teams in the division at the moment. And I'm going to do my normal trick with Preston. Rotherham versus Preston is game number 9. So just 3 more after this one. Get your predictions in. Millers versus Lily Whites here. Rotherham versus Preston. And I will do the trick that I've done a few times here. If I hit the home league table, Preston are at the bottom of it with 5 straight defeats. Horrendous home form. If I hit the away league table, Preston are imperiously brilliant away from home. So if that continues, then a fairly simple prediction because it's going to be a Preston win, isn't it? Rotherham, however, are rather tricky to play against, aren't they? But a slight worry now with Rotherham and Coventry both just gravitating slightly downward toward that bottom 6 and indeed bottom 4 in Coventry's case. Let's have a look at the recent results. So there is Preston on the right, just so spotty. I mean, look, home to Stoke, lose. Away to Brentford, win. Home to Cardiff, lose. Away to Rangers, win. Away to Huddersfield, win. Home to Millwall, lose. Home to Birmingham, lose. Away to Reading, win. You get the pattern, don't you? So just a bit hotchy-potchy. Like the look of Emil Rees. He should probably start again, although still rotating with Big Stockley, not Story. Get those two mixed up. Rotherham, yeah, just the wins are too few and far between, aren't they? And a couple of tight ones going against them there against Stoke and against Luton this past week after the good win against Wednesday. I mean, if they're going to get wins, they're probably going to come at the New York, aren't they? Let's see what you think in terms of this one. Will Preston keep up the crazy good away form? Mick says 4-2 Preston. Toole says hip. 0-5 Preston, 0-4. Toole 1-1. Banker away win, says Chris. 2-1 Preston. Away day champs to win 2-0. 3-0 Preston. Preston like an away trip, but New York might be a bit far. This time, Preston away win. Rotherham won this fixture 2-1 in 1819 on New Year's Day. Thanks, Joe. Stat there. 2-1 Preston. Iain is our Rotherham authority, I have to say. Says 2-0 Preston. Not saying the wheels have come up, but the nuts are loosening. Look, everybody's going for Preston. So I'm going to have to do the decent thing here and annoy Rotherham fans and back Rotherham. Because it's the championship, we've got to have one every game where I take logic, which says Preston will definitely win because they're really good away from home, and flip it on its head and predict a Rotherham win. We have to do one, don't we? Because there will be one stupid result that we all think will go one way that will go the other. So there you go. I predict Rotherham will win this one in the face of everybody predicting Preston. Does that make me a contrarian? I never wanted to be a contrarian. Those people annoy me. They mistake being contrary with being clever. It's not the same thing at all, is it? In fact, it shows a distinct lack of intelligence to be a contrarian, despite the fact I think I just did it. But there you go. That was a weird rant at myself, wasn't it? Cardiff, we've done. Birmingham, we've done. Huddersfield, we've done. QPR play Blackburn. Blackburn versus QPR. Get your predictions in the comments. This is game number 10. 2 to go after this one. Blackburn v QPR. Blackburn are confusing me now because I really like a lot of their players and I like their manager. I like their recruitment. I like their front three. Their number 9's brilliant and they keep losing. So Blackburn confusing the absolute hell out of me. There they are. Look, 16th and 17th in the table. Rangers with 2 straight victories, and we did them on the watch along. But I have to say, Derby were not good last night, were they? And Warburton, did the job, didn't he? But it wasn't like QPR turned up at Derby and bombarded the 3 points. That wasn't the case. But 2 straight wins there against Cardiff and Derby. So very much like we said about Luton, Rangers will have enough if you're not in a good moment, and maybe Blackburn aren't in a good moment. And I keep playing who have they actually beaten with Blackburn. 5 against Wickham and 10 men. 4 against Derby, who have been rubbish this season, haven't they? 4 against Coventry with 10 men. Otherwise, draw with Borough. Some difficult games in there, I guess. Swansea, Reading defeats. Watford defeat. Forest, they were unlucky to lose that against a deflected goal, weren't they? Rangers, really bad run going into those 2 games. Look at that, 7 without a win and only 4 points in 7 as well, which is really bad. But they look like they have enough to be, at least halfway competitive in this division. Rangers, they seem to have options. Whether they have quality in the right amounts, I'm not so sure, especially without Eze now. And Chris is saying Rovers have a lot of injuries and Armstrong touch and go. That makes a big difference, doesn't it? The goal scorer. Let's see what you guys are saying on this one then. Blackburn and Rangers. Let's have a look. Yes, Mr. Hitchens. Yeah. Have you got that book, Letters to a Young Contrarian? If ever there was a great contrarian, yeah. Blackburn 3, Rangers 2, says Josh. 1-1 says Noel. Mike, biased, but 1-0 to the Hoops. 1-0 Rovers, 3-0 Rovers. Away win for Chris. 2-0 Blackburn, 4-2. 2-1, 2-2 draw. Blackburn 2-1, 2-1 QPR. We're all over the place with this one, aren't we? 0-2, 3-3, 2-2, 2-1. Ours to keep the momentum going. Chair plays well. QPR wins. I mean, that might be true, especially if we know Armstrong. I can't call it, guys, so I'm going to go hopefully high-scoring draw, being we do have people like Chair and Bon and Samuel and Dolan and no, Armstrong's not going to be there, but Brereton and Elliott. There's a lot of good attacking players and less good defenders in this game, I think. So, look, I'm going to go for a scoring draw, I think, in this one. Right, 2 to go. And we're leaving our poor Derby and Forest fans in the lurch. They need to get further up the table, damn it, don't they? Have we done Barnsley yet? We haven't. That's because Barnsley are playing at Derby. Now, this could be a bloodbath, couldn't it, this one? If Koku loses again, it really could be time, basically. Get your predictions in. This is game 11, is Derby versus Barnsley. Both teams down at the bottom, but a bit more comfort if you're a Barnsley fan. Ishmael winning 2 on the trot. And then welcome to the Championship, as I said, 3-0 defeat midweek away at Cardiff. That can sneak up on you, can't it? So difficult one, this, isn't it? Derby were not good, and I did watch them last night. And you do worry, forget about players and systems and pattern of play. You do worry about the psychology when you see this kind of slumped form from Derby. And it looked like they were writing it. And Josh Viak and Waghorn and Lawrence came back. And you have the 3 draws, and then to lose the next home game and not score. That's when you want to kick on, isn't it? And they did not do it. That one win, I was there against Norwich, was with a extreme low block. And can you do that at home to Barnsley? I think even without fans in the stadium, Derby fans are not going to tolerate that. Barnsley, I maintain every time I talk about them, I really like some of their players. Mowat, Chaplin, Styles, Woodrow, James now coming into the team. They've got some really nicely technical players. Ishmael is new to it, but I think from what we see, he's going to have a go. Does that play into Derby's hands, or does it not? Let's see what you guys are saying in the Championship. Mike, we always get asked about this. This very expensive synth does not have internal speakers, so we haven't got it plugged into anything. Maybe we'll bring a speaker up one time so we can do that, because everyone asks. 3-0 Barnsley, says Josh. 3-all. That's quite lively, actually, Joe, isn't it? 2-0 Derby, says Carl. 2-1 Derby. 0-0. 1-1. 3-1 Derby. 2-1. Jay's just looking up last year's fixtures now. 1-0. I was at that game, actually. Derby 2. I think was it Rooney's first game? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm remembering that correctly. And Jack Marriott missed about 5 1-on-1s, didn't it? Shocking performance from him. 3-0 Barnsley. 3-1 Barnsley. 1-1. Our neighbours are starting to click, says Iain. 2-0 Derby. 2-1 Derby. 2-0 Barnsley. Be mad if Derby or Forest finish bottom half. Well, they need to get it going. Stat of the week, says Chris. Derby haven't won at home. Barnsley haven't won away. Draw. Love it. Logic. Feel like Ben is going for an away win here. Why is Rooney tarnishing his career? I don't know whether he's tarnishing his career, Mike. I guess you want it to last and last forever, don't you? Even if you've had a career as amazing as Rooney's. Rampant Ram says we want to beat the wannabe D-Dar Dingles usually, but if Koku the Clown doesn't go direct and play high tempo and press high, get shots and go, we'll lose or only get a draw. Totally agree with that. It is ponderous, isn't it? Sometimes Koku's Derby needs a bit more snap. At least Lampard's Derby went for it, didn't they? They were open as hell, but they went for it. Wednesday are going to win 2-1. Oh, thanks, Joseph. We've done that game. 1-1. Oh, God. So do I want to predict the bloodbath? let's go for it. Go on, you've all gone for it. Barnsley away win, which would mean Uncle Mel and the takeover and the manager changing all in the 2 weeks, which would give me something to talk about. So let's go for it then. Away win. Not that Derby's a great club. Not that it pleases me, but it's not working at the moment at all. Is it? Lewis says Coco will be gone no matter what they tell us. I'm singing the Meatloaf version, not the Boyzone version, by the way. Finally, as The Rock would say, well, he wouldn't say finally because he'd say finally. He didn't pronounce the second. I'm being a pedant now, aren't I? Nobody likes a contrarian. Nobody likes a pedant, Ben. Stop it. Nottingham Forest versus in form Wycombe Wanderers. Come on, Wycombe. No, leave your bias at the door. I'm just enjoying Wycombe winning some games when everyone said they were going to just lose every week, which they did for the first 7 weeks, to be fair. But having a real good go at it at the moment. This game is at the City Ground, and Chris Hughton is in the dugout for Forest, though, before we get too enthusiastic. What is it with these bad breath adverts? That's disgusting. Can you block what adverts Google does? Noel, my darling, I can't do anything about my stream being slightly off, my friend. I can't get a soldering iron out or go in the back of the thing. It's just the internet. So don't worry about it. As long as you can still hear me, it's okay. I can do zilcho about it, my friend. I've seen your comment. So Forest and Wycombe, 20th and 22nd. Wycombe in lovely form. And I'd like to extend that form back to the Norwich game where they were more competitive and lost to that Vrancic free kick in the very, very last minute or in stoppage time even. And then drew with Year 1 parachutes. Watford beat Wednesday and drew beat Birmingham as well in the midweek. So they're in lovely little form. If you're down the bottom, you can do this clusters of results. Then great news for you, because often those teams at the bottom, 3 points, 6 points takes many, many weeks, not back-to-back games, Saturday, Tuesday. So in terms of Forest, I don't know. I just cannot see a club of that size with Chris Hughton in the dugout, with Lyle Taylor or Lewis Grabban up top, with Lolly, Knockhart and Freeman off the front. I cannot see them not just moving gradually up the table. I'm going to go out there first and say home win, and then we'll see what you guys are saying in the chat here. So I'm going home win there for the Forest. Where am I looking here? Joe says 1-0 Wycombe. Nillall says Josh 1-1. We've got some goal scorers there. Actually, have improved since Akin Fenway has come in. 3-4 says Joe. Goodness me. 2-all home win says Chris. Ecomb on a roll. 2-1. I don't know what that means, Abel. 3-0 Forest. Where are we looking? 2-0 says Jay. Forest. 2-1 Forest. 2-0 Forest. 2-1 away win. 2-0 Wycombe. Any more for any more on this one? No, I didn't take it as a dig, Noel. I'm just saying I can't do anything about it. It normally writes itself, doesn't it? And Noel does indeed say 2-0 Forest. Home win says Owen. 4-0 Wycombe says the maybe slightly not leaving it his bias at the door there. Rampant Ram. Jay says that bias not at the door. Mick says 1-0 Wycombe. Bet Matt Cash loving his decision to move to Villa. I'm sure his salary loved his decision to move to the Premier League as well. Is it a floppy hat? Are we eating hats? Bennett's a Karkas situation, literally not like last year. So bad if we're allowed to go a turnover. Vent my frustration. Well, vent it here. Vent away. Nicola Ventola. What a player he was. And remember him playing in Italy for Inter. One more. Let's just stick Alfie's prediction in there. He says 2-0 Forest. Right. We can do some Q&A now for 5 minutes. Let me just go through my predictions. I am a good boy. I do write them down. I must admit, I then screw them up and put them in the bin straight afterwards because I know I'm going to be reminded of every prediction I got wrong. So I went for Reading versus Stoke, a draw. I went for Norwich versus Swansea, home win. I had Watford v Coventry, home win. I have Birmingham v Bournemouth, away win. Brentford v Borough, home win. Cardiff v Bristol City, home win. Wednesday v Millwall, away win. Where is number 8? Huddersfield v Luton, I've got a draw. Rotherham v Preston, I've got a home win because the entire chat went with Preston's away form to continue. I'm going to look silly on that one, aren't I? Blackburn v QPR, I've got a draw. Derby v Barnsley, I've got an away win. And last but not least, Forest Wycombe, I have a home win on that one. Let's have a little look at the table again. We did at the start and just see the size. If you get questions in, if you want to do questions, let me just get it so we haven't got Forest and Wycombe highlighted. So there is your league table, and we're going to get to pause and have a good look after 11 games, which is nearly a quarter of the way in, aren't we? Reading, brilliant start. Can they get to 25 off 11? That would be sensational. Swansea, good stuff. And then look at the Wolf Pack there, the year one parachute teams, currently 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Is there a scenario we can get them 2nd, 3rd, and 4th by? Oh dear, I'm worryingly saying it could happen. All the League One teams in the bottom 5, all the ex-Premier League teams in the top 5 would be very boring, but hey, it could happen, couldn't it? Then you have Warnock's Borough on a nice run there. Bristol City, not sure where they're headed, up and down, aren't they? Millwall look consistent. Luton really punching. 9th, brilliant stuff. Brentford and Stoke, we might expect to be pushing a little higher. Preston all over the place. Cardiff inconsistent. And then we're into these teams that haven't really put wins together yet. Birmingham, Huddersfield, QPR, Blackburn, Barnsley have all shown potential to win games and lose games. And then we're down in that bottom 6 where we have Rotherham, Wycombe and Cov, the League One teams. And then we have probably, in terms of actual old school size of club history fan bases, probably 3 of the biggest clubs in the entire league, Wednesday, Derby and Forest, all down there in the bottom 5. Is that going to stay the same? I'm not sure it is. We'll see how the tide move things this season. Any questions here? Ola says, which team will draw the fewest matches? Luton at the moment and Huddersfield. It'll be someone erratic, won't it? Or someone very good who just generally wins. But Luton's a good one. I know they're already doing it, but they're all or nothing, aren't they? They'll either beat you or lose to you. Good question. Mick says next game is going to tell if Reading are on a slippery slope. Maybe. Remember though, Mick, they can get some players back over international. Fewest be Bournemouth, says Joe. Top half for Rangers is the goal. 8th place would be better. Incredible. My team need to snatch a win versus Blackburn before the toughness gets all Watford and Brentford after the break. Don't like the sound of that. Q&A, Ben, over the snore international break. How about a music quiz to jazz things up? We have spoken about an actual footy quiz live in the chat. Although then some people said straight back, there's like a delay and people get it at different times. I think YouTube puts a 10-second delay on it anyway. So, yeah, we'll have a think about what we could do for that. That could be fun though, couldn't it? Harrison says, when Millwall inevitably get promoted to the Premier League, which game will you be disappointed to miss at the Den, given your dedication to the Championship? Just one of the London derbies. I suppose if Charlton get back, Millwall, Charlton. Remember, we do run on this channel the Dearly Departed series, which will still feature whoever goes up. So we're still covering Villa, Sheffield United, Fulham, West Brom, Leeds from last season. Would you rather get relegated but beat your rivals twice or go up and lose both? Go up and lose both every day of the week. Deary me. Play the long game, Floppy Joe. Alfie says Forest could make a move for the top 6. They need to hurry up if they're going to, Alfie. Lots of draws under Houghton might hinder that perhaps this season. But 3 great clubs at the bottom, testament to how they've been run. Yes, basically. I'm not saying any of these will go down, but owners relegate clubs. Name that tune. We're going to play Name That Tune. Always play Name That Tune every game, don't we? Do you think home advantage is a thing without fans? I don't think so. My feelings playing field has been levelled. Weird things are definitely happening, and some things have been changing, haven't we? We need a bake-off, Chris. Know you like a bit of... Yes, but Lottie is... Oh, spoiler alert, after Tuesday. Oh, I'll say no more. We are overdue getting a win at Brentford. This lot from Shepherd's Bush are coming for you. Brentford have had it over Rangers recently, haven't they? Worst start for Derby in 130 years. Not good. Forrester confirmed they'll go for both Grzycki and Evandro in January. Do they need Grzycki if they've already got Amiobi, Lolly, Freeman and Knockout already in those positions? I'm not sure they need him, but hey, we saw what West Brom did. They stocked up in those positions with Pereira, Dean Garner, Phillips, Grzycki and Robinson last season. And look where they are now. So it worked. Ben, I think he's hinting you should host a YouTube version of Songs of Praise. Nice. Songs of Praise, On a Sunday night when I was a kid, we used to eat dinner in the lounge. Sometimes catch that. Do you think Brooks might go to Sheffield United? Possibly. Yeah, he seems fit and in the team now. This is the thing with Bournemouth, Watford and Norwich. Can they, if they're up the top of the table, can they do deals with these guys to stay and have a go at the Premier League? The thing is, though, if I'm David Brooks, Josh King, Emi Buendia, Max Aarons, who am I missed? Which club have I missed out there? Ismail Assar, Troy Deeney, etc. I might still want the move, whatever, because even if I do go up with Norwich, Watford, or Bournemouth, it might still be tough in the Premier League. And can I get a move to, I don't know, wherever? So I don't even know if it matters whether they're up the top there. So it'll be very, very interesting how it pans out. Steve says, which Millwall will turn up this week? The one that fought well against Norwich, or the awful abysmal one that played against Barnsley or Huddersfield? I think the one that fought well against Norwich. Next managerial sacking, sorry to the Derby fans, the heavy favourite at the moment would be Koku, given the possible takeover and the awful form. Not opening fixture at the Den versus West Ham. That sounds fun, doesn't it? When Derby go down, do you think Rooney will stay? I don't think they'll go down, and he might be the manager. Who knows? Top three strongest squads in the Championship. Come on. Bournemouth, Watford, Norwich, isn't it? It's stacked, aren't they? What is my favourite setup and why? I don't know what that means, Floppy Joe. Is that still on back home? Songs of Praise? No idea. I'd love a footy quiz, but I'd leave you all standing. That is fighting talk from Iain. Saar seems most likely to attract bids. He just looks very good, doesn't he, Saar? And Noah Masengo should be sent on loan. Yeah, that's expensive, isn't it? Safest manager at the moment, Chris Hughton or Valerian Ismail, the two that have just been hired, if that's not too disingenuous an answer. Favourite formation? I don't really view it like that, Floppy Joe. It's all about the pattern of play to me. You can have a 3-5-2 that's absolutely horrendously defensive. You can have a Chris Wilder 3-5-2, can't you? You can have a 4-4-2 that was Neil Harris's up and at Millwall 4-4-2, or you can have a Mick McCarthy 4-4-2 where it's two banks of four and play the channels. It's all about the pattern of play, isn't it? And one of the things that very, very much irritates me is when you see a team and they're playing one central striker and fans think that to increase their chances of scoring goals, they need to have another striker on the pitch, which if you saw Bielsa's Leeds or Farke's Norwich in 18-19, they were literally the most attacking sides you'll ever see with one up top. So it's all about the pattern of play for me, Floppy Joe, rather than the actual formation and setup. Streaky Lee, where did that one go from Josh? Streaky Lee to be the new Derby manager. Well, let's see how much money the Arabs have got are going to take over there, because they might wave a pot of gold at an even bigger name than that. Will John Lundstrom play in the Championship in January? I don't know, Oli. You probably know more about that than me, but he doesn't want to sign a contract, and I don't see him going to another Premier League club. So there we go. Best team I've watched this season and why? Oh, God. Probably just for star power, probably in one of the watch-alongs, Bournemouth, I would say. I just remember them turning up a gear and But I don't really think I've seen a mass hammering, brilliant performance yet where I've just sat there eulogising. So Andre Ayew, best player consistent. Yeah, Andre Ayew's very, very good indeed. We'll have some fun in the break. I've got some plans to do some 11s and a few fun joining in things. We'll do a giveaway as well. Who will win the championship? Ola, you know we don't answer that one on here. I did my pre-season video that goes on the internet and stays there, and we review. And I don't change my predictions. Again, like I say, with every predictions thing, the standard I expect to be held to is predict the thing and then wait till it happens before you judge. So we'll look at my predictions at the end of the season. Karaoke, that sounds fun. I should be doing that for a blooming living, but for the lockdown, there we go. Right, we are 1 hour and 6 minutes in. I want to go and hang with Shaylee and watch The Haunting of Bly House. Now, Barlio has set me up there beautifully. You're doing the watch along tomorrow. Yes. So it will be bang, fireworks. Good thing we haven't got the dogs at the moment. They would be barking like no one's business. Poor little things. So tomorrow is Dearly Departed during the day, and then Cardiff Bristol City early one. So 5:45 will be starting that one. And then Saturday will be live for a long time. Reading versus Stoke, and then the Saturday Super Stream. Join me for that. Championship review will be 10 a.m. Sunday morning. That's been a lot of fun. And then I'll be Dearly Departed on Monday. And then we've got some openings there. There's England on the 12th, the 15th, and the 18th we'll be doing. But otherwise, we will do some other stuff. Best manager in the championship. Depends. You'd have to define best for me, Joe. Who's had the best career? Whose team do I enjoy watching the most? Who's had the best recruitment? I don't know. Will you wear the Super Mario shirt again when Mario scores? Absolutely not, Mick. That is absolutely fake news. It's silly football fans again, isn't it? That whatever you wear, I remember wearing a T-shirt with a tiger on, and I got, he's a Hull fan, and I wear a Super Mario one. Football fans are highly capable of making everything about their team, aren't they? So the main question is Ipswich returning. I probably not. Probably losing the playoffs, I would have thought. But there you go. We could get really good during the season. Not seeing much evidence of that. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Loads of content coming up. I'll give one more plug for the merchandise store. Even just getting a mug and posted it on Twitter would do me a huge solid there. Teesprings is the store, and it's just underneath here in the chat. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Let's do some shout-outs quickly. Mike over in the States. Nat, happy Wednesday fan here. QPR forever. David. Floppy says, keep calm and believe in Wickham. Mick. Ola. Sorry. Joe. Chris, who's always here. Brilliant follow. Abel. Mick. And Floppy. I think we've done all of those. Right. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and I'll see you Friday and Saturday for watch-alongs and super streams and all of that good stuff. And I will say thank you for watching, and over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.